Jana,
We're back. It's August. I can't believe it's August. I feel like it was just 10 minutes ago that we were saying it's June and we're taking July off.
I know I took most of the whole month off, like pretty much the entire month.
Yeah.
I think I maybe checked emails once a week,
Ah, so good.
Slack like once a week. I
So,
was
so
keeping an
good.
eye out for like customer service things, but I like
Yeah.
prepared my audience and my membership people so well that they
Yeah.
didn't bother me the whole time.
Yeah. So good. Well,
So,
today we're talking about Pinterest, one of our favorite topics, and we're talking specifically about some different ways that we make our Pinterest pinning workflows easier and faster.
yep.
Um, so I think this is an important topic because like quality is super important, obviously, but also it's easy to fall off and not pin your stuff if you feel like your workflow is taking a really long time. So if you can find ways to make it go faster and easier, um, then you're going to be more likely to pin regularly and give like different blog posts different chances to like get indexed because you're putting out multiple pins for them, meaning like maybe every month you're putting out a couple different versions of pins for the same blog post and giving them different chances to like become the ones that become popular and become legacy pins. So,
Yeah. And things take time. On Pinterest, especially, things take time to take off sometimes.
mhm.
You'll make pins and you feel like they go nowhere, and then years later, they show up in your top pins reports, and
Yeah,
you're
it's
like,
wild.
oh, I don't even remember making that.
Yeah, it's wild, wild.
So
Yeah, so
I
well, we're not saying to like pump, thousands of pins onto the platform. That's not what we're saying, but we are saying that if you can put, 15 pins on Pinterest this month instead of five, then that's good because it does mean that you get to test out different angles
yeah,
and different ways of positioning the topic and things like that. And even like testing out and using different keywords or combinations of keywords can sometimes lead to having more pins that become those pins that become popular and maybe even become those like long-term traffic drivers. Yeah.
for sure. So, what would you say is your first tip
Yeah.
for making Pinterest pins easier and faster as far as like a workflow?
Yeah, so I noticed that, and remember, my audience is mostly coaches and service providers. So it's a little bit of a different, like, niche audience on Pinterest. Um, and because I don't really have like a lot of e-commerce sellers or people who are like bloggers who monetize with like display ads and things like that, our goal is really to get leads and clients with Pinterest. So that's just a little bit of like context that I always feel like I have to give to make sure that people understand who my advice is for, essentially. Um, but my first thing is I notice a lot of people who talk to me about how to do Pinterest. They really are always asking themselves the question or asking me to tell them how many pins should I pin every month overall. And I always try to shift their thinking into thinking about instead of how many pins overall you want to put on the platform every month, think about what blog posts you have now because I teach a blog strategy writing program. So I'm thinking of people who want to get people from Pinterest who are searching their topics to discover their blog posts. Um, so think about for each blog post that you have, how often do you want to pin that with a new image? And that's kind of like, it's sort of like coming at the decision from a different angle. And I find when you think about it that way, this is just like a tip, it gives you more clarity in terms of like deciding what your workflow is going to be. So instead of every month coming at it and being like, okay, I need to pin 10 pins this month or 15 pins this month, I like to think of it more as if you have, let's say, 14 blog posts, because in my program, I teach people to write a capsule blog library of 12 to 20. So let's say you end up with 14 in your capsule library. I say decide how many times you want to pin each one every month. So it would be a perfectly legitimate strategy. And this is what I recommend to a lot of my students. If you have 14 blog posts, then pin each one once a month with a new image. And I find that even though that doesn't sound like it's that different, though coming at it from that perspective and thinking about it that way sometimes is a lot easier for people to like plan out their workflow and be consistent with it. So that's just a tip that I find works for service providers and coaches. It's not like super tactical. I have a couple others that are more tactical, but that's something that I notice works really well. So it takes a little bit of doing to get people to of it that way instead. But I like it that way. So that's my tip if you're a coach or a service provider.
Yeah, so I was on a call with someone this week, and that reminds me, I need to send her her replay. I've already forgotten. I was on a call with someone this week and I gave her the tip of, because a lot of people come at it from like Pinterest first. So, like, oh, what keywords are on Pinterest and how do I make my blogs fit this
Mm,
keyword?
right.
Instead of coming from your blog first
Yeah.
and making your blog fit what's available on Pinterest. And you
Yeah.
might have to get a little bit more creative sometimes in what keywords you're even searching for to use on Pinterest because the first ones that you surface, maybe the content doesn't align with what was surfaced with what you have in your blog or whatever.
Yeah.
The intent isn't quite matching up. So for your coaches and service providers specifically coming at it from the website and the blog content first
Right.
instead of Pinterest first, I think could be
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
little bit more beneficial.
I think a good example of that is like I remember a long time ago when I was doing done for you Pinterest setups, I worked with a keto diet coach. And if she were to let the keywords guide her content strategy on Pinterest, which there's nothing wrong with doing that a little bit, but you don't want that to be, you don't want you to be starting your thought process about your content strategy based only on keywords because she would have had like boards and pins about like keto dessert recipes and keto dinner ideas for the family. And like those are the things that are going to come up the most often and have what we suspect, because we don't know for sure, but we suspect is the highest like search volume on Pinterest for the word keto. And this is a little outdated. It's so funny. We don't like, how do we feel about keto these days? I don't know. But this is just an old story, and I'm just using it as an example. So please don't necessarily think I am endorsing the keto diet. I am not necessarily endorsing it. Um, but instead, and she actually did that for a long time. And when I came in and looked at her Pinterest, I was like, is this working for you? And she's like, I'm getting a lot of traffic, but nobody's buying. And I was like, that's because they came to you for recipes and that's not what you're selling, you know?
Yeah.
So instead, we started looking at what her blogs were about. Well, first, I helped her write blogs that were about the right things. And like for an example, one of the blogs she had was about how to stick to the keto diet because I keep like I feel like I can't stick to it. It's really hard to stick to it. And so
Like
she
you're
looked
only
for,
eating meat and butter.
yeah, I know, but gee, like, yeah, I can see why that's hard. But anyway, again, just using it as an example. Um, but so she had a blog post about that. So we looked for keywords that were about that instead. So we looked for a keyword and we found that one thing people were searching for was how to stick to the keto diet.
Hmm.
And that was, I mean, people were searching that because it's hard.
It
Um,
is hard.
and so we used that keyword instead, and that became one of her boards instead of a board that was like keto dessert recipes. Now, did she still have occasional recipes on her Pinterest? Sure. But that's an
Yeah.
example of like kind of like letting the tail wag the dog when the dog should wag the tail.
Yeah.
So anyway, we digress, but that was a good point you made, and I wanted to give an example so people would kind of see it come to life.
Yeah. I think one of my more tactical tips is it's more or less your first tip. And I I still love, and it might feel repetitive and it might seem stupid to keep doing it like this, but I am a one-track brain. Like when I'm in workflow mode, I only want to see what I want to see right now. I don't
Yep.
want to see everything else
Yep.
because I am a squirrel hunting for a nut. So what I like to do is make a spreadsheet every single month of the content I'm only working on this month. And that's where the
Mhm.
Pinterest system was born out of years ago. I
Right.
never realized when I initially started my business, that's what I was doing. I had no idea that I had a touch of ADHD like going on in this brain. Like I always knew there was something going on, but I never
Mhm.
knew like so I like to create the spreadsheet with only the pins I'm working on this month. And
Mhm.
that's it. And it's that simple. And
Yeah.
I move everything over and then I pre-write. So this is kind of like expanding on your first. I pre-write all my titles and descriptions before I
Yep.
ever even design a pin. Because
Smart.
once I've designed, I can move it into scheduling and get that stuff scheduled so fast and it's just done.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest tip for my first one is just like one sheet, like you had mentioned, one sheet put your
Hmm.
pins in there that you're going to make this month, pre-write your copy, and then once it's done, you can move back to your Instagram marketing or your blog writing or your threads channel,
Hmm.
like whatever else that you're working on.
Yeah. Yeah. Less
And
context switching.
you don't have to worry about Pinterest for several weeks. Um,
Yeah.
and just follow that up with another date on your calendar to
Do it
plan the
again.
next month's.
Yeah.
And you just do that every month.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great one. I mean, even just like batching content is always one of those things that we say is really good for productivity. But with Pinterest, it's like, it's so good because
It's,
part of the
yep,
great thing about Pinterest is you don't have to go in and engage with
no.
people in order to get visibility. That's not how Pinterest works. And so there's no need to be on the platform every week. So if you can get everything done for a whole month and just forget about it and then come back again a month later and do it again,
Yeah.
like that's when batching becomes not only like a strategy for productivity, but just like, I don't know, just a strategy for like sanity.
Yeah.
So even that in and of itself is a great tip. Just like don't sleep on the batching. Like even if you're not a big batcher in general, because I've
Hmm.
talked to people before who are like, I don't, it's just batching for Instagram doesn't work for me. Okay, fine. Try it on
For
Pinterest
Instagram,
anyway
maybe
because
not.
it's worth it. It's worth it on
Yeah.
Pinterest. Yeah.
I can't imagine batching on Instagram. In fact, yesterday I was filming a YouTube video and I haven't filmed in months,
Mm,
really, like legitimately filmed with like a camera. Like I haven't filmed with this camera in probably 6 months,
mm,
actually, because I've been having so many issues. Um, but yesterday I sat down and I outlined a video, made the visual resources, and then filmed the video.
mm,
And the filming of the video took me 30 minutes, whereas the creation of all of the content for the video took me probably 6 hours, just because
yeah.
I'm out of practice. I'm not like, I sent you a message and I was like, I'm probably gonna fail. Like, wish me luck.
Oh, that's what you were talking about.
Yeah, I think it just takes time and practice, but batching for Instagram just seems like a nightmare because in a lot of cases people are making reels. And I'm just not in a mindset to sit and think and like you're gonna have to days in advance pre-write hooks, what's in the
Yeah.
video, like what shots do you need. For video creation, batching in advance is so difficult. And Jenna, I used to batch 3 to 4 videos on one Tuesday.
Mm. Yeah, I remember.
I'm out of practice.
Yeah. Well, you get back into it. Also, it sounds like that this particular video might have been kind of an extraordinary one for 6 hours of prep work.
Yeah, I just haven't written a video in a long time either.
Okay. What's it
So,
about? What's the topic?
um, it's about taking your top pin reports and creating a 30-day pin plan out of it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It's a little bit of a spin on what I normally do,
Yeah.
but a lot of people focus on top pins and creating pins from their top pins,
Hmm.
and they just repeat the same ones, like the same topics and keywords, and maybe even the same templates. And
Yeah.
I'm like breaking that down of how you can do it better.
Nice. Okay, good. Good,
Yeah.
good.
What
Okay.
else do you got for us?
Well, one of the Canva tips that I like a lot, and this is maybe something some people already know, but for just in case there's some people that don't know, is using the setting, I forget what it's called now on Canva, where when you write copy, like words on the text overlay, it
Mm-hmm.
automatically puts a background behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to like change the size of the background when you change the size of the font. Like it automatically like stretches with it and everything. I don't
Oh,
know what that's called. Do you know what that's called?
no, I didn't know I was doing that.
Yeah, because I used to, and I realized that
Cool.
I recently realized that a couple of my templates that I was using for Pinterest were still doing it the old-fashioned way that was there before this new way of doing it came into play in on Canva. So what I used to do is I'd write out the copy and the
Mm-hmm.
text overlay, and then I'd pull a shape in, like a square,
Yeah.
and I would adjust the square so that it was like behind the words.
Oh, you mean adding a, like, you just add like a square and you double click in it and you start typing.
No, but that's also a good way to do it. No, the way I am talking about is
Yeah.
where you can highlight the text and use like you can use what they call, I might have to go in there and look. You can use what they call an effect, I think it is,
Oh, yeah.
to
Yeah,
put
yeah,
a
yeah.
background behind the words.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I totally know what you mean. It's
So
called the
if you're
fire.
using any old templates that were created prior to that being available, going in and switching all those templates so that now you're automatically creating that background instead of having to like pull and adjust it, like some of the
Hmm.
old templates that you might have bought on Creative Market or that you might have created yourself years ago and you're still using. Just adjusting those so that that
Hmm.
extra step of having to adjust the background behind the text is no
Yep.
longer something you have to do. I just noticed the other day when I changed that out that now it's like saving me a little bit of time. So I figured I'd mention it.
Yeah,
Full
I
hat.
love that. And I also, for our fourth tip, I also have a Canva tip. And a lot of people, when they get started on Pinterest, they may start with like 10 templates or something.
Mhm.
My advice is to actually start with way more. So
Oh.
give yourself like 30 options
Mm.
because, and I say this because it's a little bit more work up front, and maybe you buy a bigger pack from Creative Market if you're
Mm.
buying templates from somebody. Um, you're gonna want to tinker with your templates because you're never gonna be happy with them
Yeah,
when you get started, and it's going to waste a ton of your Pinterest marketing time, and
totally.
it's not something that you should be wasting a ton of time on.
Yeah.
So I just like to tell people like give yourself more options. So
Yeah.
if you find yourself spending 10 minutes designing one pin, then just move on to a different template altogether and just try
Yeah,
something.
yeah. That's a good tip. And actually I might even, and I'm sure you're going to agree, it's probably even less than 10 minutes. Like
Yeah.
each pin should take you, if you're using a template and all you need to do is switch out the photo and maybe change a color if you want to, and then change the text overlay,
Yeah.
that shouldn't take you more than like 2 minutes.
No.
And if it's taking longer than that, then I agree with you. It's kind of like, don't give in to that sunk cost fallacy feeling and be like, well, I've already been working on it for 7 minutes. Let's just get it right. Like if you notice that it takes you longer than 2 minutes, train yourself to be like, okay, apparently this is not the template.
Yeah.
And just go grab a different one that's going to be easier. I agree. I think that's a good idea. I
Yeah.
think that's a great idea. I don't do that, but I think I should incorporate that because I do find myself sometimes tinkering for too long when I should have started with just, I should have scrapped the template and grabbed a different one. Yeah,
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah. I've seen it all.
Yeah.
I've done it all.
Hmm.
So it's just, I think, a lot easier sometimes to have more options. Sometimes more options is not the way to go. Sometimes more options actually keeps us in decision fatigue. But when you're just trying to make some Pinterest pins and you're just trying to get it done because this is
Yeah.
the only hour this month that you have free,
Yeah.
sometimes more options is actually a little bit better. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And just to like illustrate this, like for me, if I have a design, template design, it has 10 templates in it, and I go in and I duplicate it so that I can make 10 pins for this month. And then I start going in and changing out the photo and the text overlay, the photo and the text overlay, the photo and the text overlay. And then I go back and say, do I want to change any of these colors? And I'll update them. Like maybe I'll use my green instead of my blue or something like that.
yeah.
And then I'll be done. But if I'm noticing that one of them just isn't working, and I actually started with 20 templates instead, I could
Hmm.
just say, you know what, delete and use this template instead of like
Yeah.
struggling with the one that I've been struggling with for like more than a minute. So I think that's the kind of thing where like it would take a little bit of like habit change,
Yeah,
but that it would be worth it if you can train yourself to do that. So,
for sure. Let's do a quick recap of our four tips, and then I need to run. I have
okay.
a meeting coming up that I forgot about, and I think I probably
Okay.
should.
I'm looking forward to hearing you recap because I don't remember what they were.
I can't remember. So your first tip was to get a spreadsheet with three columns that list your blog post and which one you're pinning each month. So you have them broken out by each month of the year. And then I kind
I didn't actually say that though. I was kind of like what I got to was like, don't think of it as how many do you need this month? Think of it
yeah,
as how often do I want to pin each blog post? And
yeah,
that's what that sheet does. I have a really simple spreadsheet that I use, and essentially it's set up that way so that it's organizing my ideas that way instead of thinking,
yeah,
okay, every month there's a blank spreadsheet where I need to decide what I'm pinning. No, I'm just cycling through my blogs.
yeah. And
Okay. That was one.
I had piggybacked off of that by saying like I like to pre-write my pin copy. and
Yep.
know exactly what I'm working on and only have just that sheet of URLs.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like an either or situation. You could go either way and those would work for you. Um, well, they probably both won't work for you, but one of them will work better for you than the other. So try them
Yeah.
out and see what works for you.
Yep.
And then tip number two was keeping your Canva designs as simple as possible for you.
I actually didn't say that either. These are the ones we were planning on saying. Instead, I said the little background trick because that's one way to keep your templates
Yeah,
as simple as possible. But in general, zooming out from that tip, keep them as simple as possible.
yeah.
hmm
So you were using the effects
hmm
to keep your templates as simple as possible. So you're not
Right.
dragging extra elements onto your pins and trying to make them
Exactly.
fit around whatever like image that you decided to put in.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mentioned for tip number four is to just have an abundance of templates to choose from in your
Yes.
branded kit, your brand kit
Yes. Yep.
on Canva.
Love it.
So
Good.
next week we're talking about the last three blog posts we wrote and why.
Yep.
And by we mean Jana,
Oh,
because I'm not writing blog posts right now.
okay, fair. So we'll do mine.
We're my business is only getting blog post updates.
Okay, good.
I don't
Good,
know
good. I
when the
like
last
that.
time we
You're in
wrote
that.
anything new.
Yeah, you're in that season.
Yeah.
Um, so just to like I'm going to talk about like how I choose the topics from the last three, like why I chose them, and I'm going to like point out where the topics are a busting an objection that I get a lot, or they're giving people um a look behind the scenes at like something that I do. Like I'm going to tell you why I chose those.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a little bit about like I'll probably get into a little bit about how I structured them to make sure that they were creating like a situation where the person who's reading them wants to buy from them.
Yeah. Beautiful. So that's what we're talking about next week.
Cool. I look forward to that.
And um, of course, as always, you can visit the description of our YouTube videos to grab any of our freebies. Ahead of next week, if you're interested in next week's video, or next week's topic, you should get Jana's 33 ways to make sales from one blog post and like just check it out because it's probably going to be related to what she's talking about.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. Thanks for the call
Um,
out. I'll put that in the show
yeah.
notes. Yep.
Okay, we'll talk to you guys next week.
Okay.
Bye. Okay, I gotta go. My stomach is
Okay.
curling. It's like boiling.
Okay. All right. Talk
The
soon.
food is not set